Some of you may know that Mel and I recently took a trip, and after a very long travel day, we got back to the airport, got our luggage, headed out to where the shuttles would take us back to our car. And we thought, man, how great is it? Our shuttle was already there. I had literally sent the text. They were picking up some other passengers, and we were able to hop right on. And the driver came, helped us with our bags. Looked like there were some people already in the van, but he assured us that there was room and asked me to sit in the very front passenger seat. And I look in, it looks pretty full. And Mel and Maren had to cram their way to the very back of the bus. And on the way there, a poor kid that was sitting in a seat got whacked by a backpack as we're trying to fit in. And I thought to myself, man, this shuttle is really full. And once I got in the front seat, we started heading out of the airport. I took a moment to look around, look back to make sure Mel and Maren were okay, only to find out that the woman in the very front bench seat was sitting all alone. She had two empty seats that would have been readily available had she just slid right over and made room for the rest of us. And I thought to myself, how selfish. But then haven't we all had moments of being selfish? Don't we all deal with that from time to time? And tonight at LCYouth, we continued our series, What's the Matter? And we talked about what's the matter with selfishness. And our friend Taylor Johnson shared two different stories from the Bible, one from Exodus chapter 16 and one from Luke chapter 12. In Exodus 16, it's the Lord's instruction for the provision of quail and manna. And he talked about how the Lord provided enough for each day, and on the Sabbath, that before the Sabbath, there was enough for 2 days. And yet it says that each time people tried to gather more than they could, or they should, and it spoiled, or they went out on the Sabbath and there was nothing there. And they didn't trust the Lord's provision. In Luke chapter 12, Jesus tells the story of a rich man who had a great abundance of crops, and he built these barns, and he thought, man, I'm going to live and be happy and be able to survive off of what I've got stored up. And he didn't realize that very night his soul would be taken from him. And these two different stories show us different aspects of selfishness. One, we think if we don't look out for ourselves, who will? And the other is if we're doing that, we often find that we are doubting God's generosity in our lives. And I would encourage you, just take a moment, look at yourself. Are there areas of your life, and I have to look at myself, are there areas of my life where I'm being selfish, where I'm thinking if I don't look out for myself, nobody else will, so I better look out for myself? And when I say that, what I'm really saying is, God, I don't trust your generosity in my life, so I've got to take care of it on my own. Man, I don't want to be in that place. I know you don't want to be in that place. For those of you old enough to remember, let me now give you the Paul Harvey portion of that story I started with. And now, the rest of the story. When we got back to the extended parking lot, I heard the woman frustratedly ask the driver about coming back and continuing her reservation, because what we found out is that her flight got canceled after it had already been delayed. And she was going to have to come back to the airport and try again the next day to get to where she wanted to go. And in that moment, I heard a little bit more of her story, and I understood why she was a little bit more self-absorbed in that moment. And I was very thankful that we did not have the same problems on our return trip. I pray that this week you'll take some moment to reflect on God's goodness. Think of all the ways He's shown up for you. Pray that He would help you to trust Him more this week. We love you guys, and we'll see you soon.